All right, today we are going to see how to solve a series circuit. A series circuit, we have a battery. The one that you saw in the example only had a large bar and a small bar. That is a cell. Technically, a battery is many cells put together. Uh, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So when we have it, the big bar is positive and the small bar is negative. So that's a battery essentially. Then we have these squiggly thing is resistors. So if I think about a battery, all the current comes out of my battery. If I use conventional flow, it comes out of the positive, goes through here. If I use electron flow, comes out of the negative, goes around right here. But either way, there's only one path for the current. There's no different roads it can take. If all the current comes out the negative side, it has to go through this resistor, comes up around here, has to go through this resistor, and has to go back. So one of these rules we have about a series circuit is all currents are the same. Scientifically, we write that as I, T for total is battery, equals I R1 for resistor 1. We'll put R1 right here, R2, and then this is all total, equals IR3 equals however many I have. So basically, whatever current comes out of the battery has to go through here, so they have to be equal, have to go through here, they have to be equal, have to go back into the battery. So all of them are the same. All of the currents are the same. Okay. For the resistances, as far as the battery is concerned, it has to push all its voltage through the entire circuit. So it sees the resistance as the combination of this resistor and that resistor. So in a series circuit, the value of the total resistance, what the battery sees, is just the sum of all the resistors. R1 plus R2 plus however many resistors it has. Finally, the voltage. So all the voltage has to push through. The battery only sees the total voltage for the entire circuit. So for a series circuit, some of it has to go through pushing this guy, some of it has to go through pushing this guy. So it divides out between the different resistors. So another way to say a series circuit is a voltage divider circuit. So if I want to write that, voltage total equals the voltage across resistor 1 plus the voltage across resistor 2 plus however many you have. So basically, the sum of the voltages in each of these guys. So now let's apply some values to this and see how to solve it. So let's say that I have resistor 1 is 10 ohms and resistor 2 is 20 ohms, and my voltage is 30 volts. So I tend to draw that as kind of a circle around wherever I have it, and we'll go 30 volts. Bam. So that means I have 30 volts across the battery. The difference in potential difference is 30 volts. So if I want to solve this circuit, the first thing I do, I put VIR. So basically make a circle around each of the battery, each of the resistors. So I have on this guy, I have VIR. This guy, I have VIR. This guy, I have VIR. So in each of them, I need eventually to know the voltage, current, resistance, voltage, current, resistance, voltage, current, resistance. So first I'll start out by writing what I know. I know that I have 30 volts. Bam. That's all I know in this guy. On this guy, I know I have 20 ohms. That's my resistance. That's all I know in this guy. On this guy, all I know is that I have 10 ohms. 10 ohms. If in any of these I know 2 out of 3, I can use Ohm's law. Okay, I know 1 out of 3, I know 1 out of 3, I know 1 out of 3. So now I got to use one of my rules to help me get the third, or the second in each one of them. So I start out, all currents are the same. Okay, do I know the current? Nope, nope, nope. So rule number 1 does not help me. Rule number 2, so this guy would be the total. This guy is all for R2. This guy is all for R1. So now the total resistance is the sum of all the resistors. So RT equals R1 plus R2. I know R1, I know R2. So basically in this guy, our total equals R1 plus R2. On our case, 10 plus 20 equals 30 ohms. So my resistance in the battery, as far as the battery is concerned, the total resistance is 30 ohms. So now I know 30 volts, 30 ohms. I know 2 out of 3 in this circle. So now I can go in and use Ohm's law. So if I look at Ohm's law, I know the voltage, I know the resistance. So I need the current. Current is voltage divided by resistance. So in this case, my current is voltage over resistance, 30 over 30, or 1 amp. 1 amp. So now I know that I have 30 volts, 1 amp, 30 ohms as far as the battery is concerned. I don't know voltage current. I don't know voltage current. So now I can go back to my 3 laws. So the first law says the total current is the same as current through resistor 1 is the same as, I wrote resistor 3, same as current through resistor 2, or however many I have. So if I have 1 amp here, I must have 1 amp here. I must have 1 amp up here. I have 1 amp everywhere. So now I know 2 out of 3. In this circle, I can find the third. So my voltage equals I times R. So I times R, 1 times 20, 20 volts. My voltage up here is I times R, 1 times 10, or 10 volts. Bam. So I know 3 out of 3 in this circle, 10 volts, 1 amp, 10 ohms. I know 3 in this circle, 20 volts, 1 amp, 20 volts. And in this circle, I know 30 volts, 1 amp, 30 ohms. So now I know all my values. Check it out. We never used the last rule down here. My voltage total is the voltage in across resistor 1 plus the voltage across resistor 2. 20 plus 10 is 30. So the rule holds through. So that's how you would solve. The circuit. So now, if I was asking you different values, so you might have an answer sheet that says R total, I total, V R1, V R2, I R2. So if you have that, right, now you just look at RT total battery. What's my total resistance of the battery? 30 ohms. What's my total current? IT totaled by the battery. What's my total current? 1 amp. VR1, what's the voltage of resistor 1? Resistor 1 right here, R1. So voltage of resistor 1, 10 volts. VR2, voltage of resistor 2. Voltage for resistor 2 is 20 volts. IR2, current through resistor 2. So resistor 2 current is 1 amp. Bam. So that's how you solve a series circuit. So again, put a circle around each resistor, put a circle around the battery. For each one of them, write VIR, VIR, VIR. And then write down what do you know? What do you know in the circuit? If you know 2 out of 3, use Ohm's law. 2 out of 3 within any circle, use Ohm's law. If you don't know 2 out of 3, one of these 3 rules will give you basically one of the values so you can figure out the rest using Ohm's law. So this is the first of the example on how to solve a series circuit.